Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's all great and wonderful. In 2020, I culled my collection over 400 games down to about 75. And today we're going to talk about one of the games that stayed in my collection, and that is Lost Cities from Rainer Knizia, a daring adventure for two published by Cosmos. I think at this time Cosmos only published two-player games. I think that was kind of like their thing. This is an older copy of the game. I was really excited last year. They like announced a new edition with new art, and it was bad. Like, it really doesn't look good at all. So I'm sticking with my old copy. This is a very simple game. If you paid attention to my first 5 videos in this series, I talked about a little bit how part of the reason these games have stuck around in my collection for so long is their simplicity. I really enjoy finding complexity in a simple set of mechanisms and a simple set of choices. This is like that distilled. It works so well. And all it is a deck of cards and this board. And this board is not strictly necessary. You could play the game with just the deck of cards, but you probably should play the deck of cards. The way this works is you're going to have a hand of cards. There are these 5 suits, and they're just green, yellow, white, blue, whatever. And the cards range in strength from 2 to 10. And then there are these handshake cards. That's it. That's it. That's the whole deck of cards. You start with a number of cards in your hand. On your turn, you play a card, draw a card. That's it. You play a card either in the row beneath you or beneath, on your side of the board, you would play a card, or you put it in the discard pile. When you draw, you either draw from one of the top cards of the discard pile or from the deck. That's it. That's the entire game. No, that's not true. There are a few rules. Once you've played a card into one of the 5 expeditions, you can never play a lower number. So if I started with this 10, I can never play anything else because I can only go, below 10. But if I start with, say, a 4, I could play all the higher numbers, but I couldn't then play a 2 on the white. All right. Additionally, these handshakes are score multipliers. You can only play these if you've not played a number yet. So you can, and this would go over here. So you can play up to 3. There's 3 in the deck, and then you can start playing numbers. So that sounds like boring, right? The secret here is that at the end of the round, once we've gone through the whole deck of cards, we score. And scoring is whatever your point total is minus 20 in each of these things, right? So if I only played a 2 and a 10 here, I lost 8 points. So that's terrible. If I played all of these handshakes and I only played a 10, these handshakes are doublers. So this is automatically negative 10 points, negative 20, negative 40, negative 80. No, that's not true. I think it just adds on. Whatever. The point is, you lose a lot of points. So you have to take each of these that you have played a card in. That's secret power. If you don't think you can get to 20 points in any given expedition, you just don't play any cards there, and you won't lose points for having none. If you played a single card, your score is whatever your total is minus 20. Add them all up, that's a hand. Play as many number of those as you like. This is a beautiful 2-player game. It has so much back and forth because based on your hand of cards, you don't really know what the other person has, but you can take guesses. And by the end of the game, you'll have a pretty strong guess as to what other people have. If I'm playing hard on yellow and I've got a whole bunch of low numbers, chances are my opponent has the 8, 9, or 10 in their hand, or all 3. They're holding on to the big numbers. They're never going to discard them. They're never going to play them unless they can get over 20 points somehow while also trying to play the rest of their cards. Once the deck starts getting low, you're allowed to count the cards. That's important because you really need to time how much time you have left, how many card plays you have left versus how many cards in your hand that you need to fill up in order to hit positive numbers in all of your cards. So there's timing, there's hand management. It's a beautiful little game. We absolutely love this game, and there have been times where we've played this, solely this, for months and months and months because it's just a beautiful, beautiful game. There are, I think one of the reasons this will always stay around is because two-player games are difficult. When there's points involved, there's zero-sum games. If I'm gaining something, you're losing something. In this, that doesn't happen because the card play is so fundamental. What you're doing on your turn really impacts the decisions that I have to make on my turn. I really have to pay attention to the cards that you're discarding, the cards that you're playing. Maybe you're discarding cards to try to, trick me into playing that color or drawing that card, knowing that you have the full 20 points and I'm not going to get there, and you can then play, and you fooled me into thinking that a color was safe for me. There's a whole lot of like super subtle things that become apparent the more you play the game. The first time you play it, it might feel really random and like, I don't get it. But after you've played it a few more times, you're like, whoa, there is a whole lot of depth here in just a super simple card playing mechanic. Absolutely beautiful game. I will never part with this. I probably, based on the most recent printing, I will probably never part with this copy just simply because the artwork on this is superior. And I will stand by that. So, that is Lost Cities, A Daring Adventure for Two by Rainer Knizia. I think it's still published by Cosmos or, I don't know. There you go. The rest of this week will be two-player games. I hope you enjoy that. Come back tomorrow, see what else I have on the table to talk about. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends, wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is liquidity. It is a noun meaning the relative ease with which a person can sell an asset. Despite a firm belief in wealth liquidity, Dotson continues to buy such appreciable items as yachts and Porsches. Liquidity. Liquidity. Depreciable items. I probably read that wrong and it confused me. Depreciable items. Yeah. Don't buy depreciable items if you're trying to save more money.